This is Commissioner Scar. Today is Tuesday, October 25th, 2022, and we'll call this meeting to order at 8 a.m. Before we get started, I'd like to remind everyone to mute their phone. You can do this by pressing *6. Please unmute yourself when called to speak, again pressing *6. It is very important for all others to remain muted. Thank you. Well, I am chairing the call this morning as Commissioner Yamamoto is on a well-deserved vacation. And I believe that Commissioner Bell is, I think, maybe the last week of her class this week, but I'm going to give just a moment in case she is with us this morning. She can let us know that. Commissioner Bell, are you here today? Okay, that was what I thought, is that she would not be joining us today. So I have a couple other people who will not be joining us today. Among those would be Eric Swanson of Adventist Health. He is at a conference this week and will not be joining us. So we're going to jump right into the Coastal Caucus to start our call today. And I know that I saw Suzanne on when I was scanning phone numbers. Suzanne, do you want to kick us off?
Oh, thank you so much. I hope I'm unmuted.
You are unmuted. Thank you.
It's been a busy week. You know, we're coming up to that point when our ballots are needed to be turned in, and I really appreciate the fact that the courthouse has put out all of the information on where you can turn in your ballots, and how, if you have a problem with your ballot, you can fix it. So congratulations for work well done. Tomorrow I'm going to get to tour the Clatsop Forest again. And I really am looking forward to that because of the way that they are managing that forest is really truly an example for the rest of the state. Also, this week the Marine Mills board meeting is, and I hope that you all become acquainted with that organization and what they do for our folks in our community with disabilities. And I really want to thank Ron Rush for all of the years of guidance that he has given that organization and how it has been built to the, to the level that it is. So thank you, Ron. He's going to be retiring soon. Cindy Green is going to be taking his place, and she will do just as fabulous a job, I know. Also this week, I have another education workforce meeting. And we will continue to work on recruiting, retaining, and compensating teachers with the recommendations going forward. And I also want to acknowledge how much I appreciate the Tillamook Fire Department. You know, we had a fire at the mill over the weekend, and they were there, and it was out, and how much I appreciate their skills and their training in going forward. This week I will also be attending the Coastal Marine Experiment Station Advisory Board to see how things are going there. This is my first time attending that meeting, and so I'm really looking forward to that. You know, this community really reaches out and celebrates holidays, and you know, when my kids were growing up, I really appreciated that. But the whole county is celebrating Halloween. And I think that, we haven't had an ability to be able to get out and really do that in the last couple of years. And so we have a lot of opportunities, especially to celebrate this holiday. Even in Pacific City with their, the Dories are doing a trick or treat. And they have a special name for it, and I'm sure that Doug will give us some more information on that. And then we have churches in Tillamook that are also having events. The Nazarene Church on Friday night, and the Catholic Church on Saturday night, and the Methodist Church are having trick-or-trunk. And then our downtown association is also having the Monster Mash Bash on the 31st. And then we have Halloween on Monday, which is an interesting time to have it. And it'll be interesting to see how many kids still go out trick-or-treating. And we have a bunch of pumpkin patches around here. The Kiltis River Pumpkin Patch has, of course, its maze. And the Dahlia Farm down south has its pumpkins. And great opportunities at the end here of Miller Avenue. The Little Red Wagon stand has also got pumpkins. So there's no excuse to not enjoy this holiday. And I also want to congratulate the Tillamook high school athletes, the football team and the soccer team. And there's also going to be a ribbon cutting, so to speak, for the new field, the new complex, and look for more information on that. And last week we also had the tourism awards for Visit Tillamook Coast, and I think there will be more coverage on that. But you know, this county really, you know, you set the bar for the standard for how to welcome our visitors, and so thank you. And I think that other than we have photographers in town because of the King Tide coming, it's going to be an exciting week and weekend, and so everyone be safe, and thanks again for the opportunity to be able to share this. And I'm done today.
Ooh, thank you, Suzanne. Appreciate you being with us this morning. Any question for Suzanne? I do not see Representative Gomberg's phone number on my list, but I'm going to give him a shout out because he may have called in from a different phone number today. Are you with us, Representative Gomberg? It's unusual to have him miss us, but I'm sure it is because of other important things that he's doing in places he needs to be. I'm going to use my prerogative as the moderator here today, and I'm going to invite Tassie to give us a few words. I see that she's on. Because we are coming right up on election time, as Suzanne referenced. And Tassie, is there anything you'd like to share with us?
I would love to. Thank you for the opportunity. As everyone knows, the November 8th election is upon us. Ballots were mailed on the first day we could mail ballots to the regular voters on October 19th. Most folks should have received them by now, but if folks haven't received them by this Friday, it'd be good if they contact our office, because it's possible if they've moved or updated their registration address or mailing address, they aren't going to receive one unless they update. People can update all the way through election day and still get a ballot to vote the election. You should have received also a voter pamphlet at each residence. That doesn't mean you're a registered voter. It just means that the voter pamphlet went out to every residence in the county. That comes out from the Secretary of State. There was also a new voter guide that was done by Headlight Herald and others within the community that was sent out for this election for the first time. And if you would like to vote your ballot early, then you don't have to wait. And if you do that, there are campaigns and groups that do get lists of who has voted and who's not voted. So they have been reaching out already to folks who have not voted. And so if you vote, then you would get off those lists for those calls to possibly stop for you. So that is an incentive for a lot of people that don't like to get those calls. If you vote your ballot, you can either mail it, and postage is paid. It needs to be postmarked by election day itself. If it's too late, then it wouldn't be counted. Otherwise, you can use a ballot drop site within the location of Tillamook County. All of those drop sites are located in your ballot envelope on your secrecy sleeve that's been provided in your ballot packet. So you can use those at any time, but they have to be in those boxes by 8 p.m. Anyone who does not sign their envelope, you need to make sure that you do sign your golden envelope. If you do not, your ballot will not be counted. We do send out letters to have you either sign that by a certain deadline, which would be listed on the letter that you receive. Also, if your signature does not match, we would send you a letter as well. We do verify every signature on every envelope. So that's throughout the state. You can also turn in your ballot anywhere in the state of Oregon. So if you were to be out of town and had your ballot with you and put it in a drop site in a location within another county within the state, those do get sent to the other counties by trackable mail. You're always welcome to call our office with questions. Our number is 503-842-3402. Remember, no question is a dumb question. You're also welcome to email us at our generic email, which is clerk@co.tillamook.or.us. You can email me specifically at toneal@co.tillamook.or.us. www.tillamook.or.us. We do have lots of information that's on our county website at www.co.tillamook.or.us, and then go to departments, clerks, and then you can see elections, and then go to the specific November election. That's where we would be posting the election results at 8 p.m. as close as we can. There's also election night reporting that will be on the Secretary of State's office webpage, as well as other information in regards to elections and this specific elections on the Secretary of State's office. The ballots seem to be a little slower getting out this time. So at this time, we only have a return of 2.51%. So I'm encouraging people to go ahead and get their ballots voted and turned in. And that way we can have more results for you at 8 p.m. on election night. If everyone waits till the last day, there will be less results for 8 p.m. On election night, which I think some folks would maybe be upset about. I think that's my report for today, but I'm willing to answer any questions if anyone has them.
Thank you so much, Tassie. Does anyone have any questions for Tassie regarding the election? Okay, hearing none, I would just really like to thank Tassie. This is a very difficult time to be an elections official. As we all know, there's a lot of scrutiny on the elections at this time. There are a lot of just extra records requests and things that have been coming her way as she leads up to this election, and she is carrying on as a trooper, and she's making sure, as she always had, that our elections are well run, that they are secure, and that we get the outcome of the voice of the voters. So Tassie, thank you for that, and to your staff as well. We appreciate that here at the county.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Scar, for saying that, and I'll make sure to pass that on to my staff. I know I appreciate it, and they will as well.
Thank you. And the last thing on voting is please vote. Remember that your vote does count. And particularly, there's so many things on the ballot this time in terms of who will represent us. There are a variety of ballot measures on there that have been put on by voter signatures. And I think that's one of the, I think it's actually fairly unique to Oregon that we have the ability for voters to get signatures and put things on the ballot. It's really incumbent upon us then, as those who will cast our votes, to make sure we read the information that comes out fully and clearly, remembering that sometimes the titles of a ballot measure can be somewhat misleading in regard to what a yes means and what a no means. So I just encourage everyone to really spend a little time with the voters' information that came out both from the Secretary of State and the one that came out locally from the Headlight Herald. Make sure that you really understand what you're voting on, what your vote means as a yes or a no, and then please vote. If we don't vote, then we lose our ability to have a voice, and that's just so important in our country. Okay, so thank you for letting me take that quick little side trip. I felt it was an important one for today as we're heading into the elections. So I will continue on our regular list of Tillamook County Community Health Centers. I believe we may have Ed Colson with us today. Ed.
Hey, good morning there. Good morning, Tillamook County. This is Ed Colson with the Health Department. So I just want to give an update here. As of the 23rd, the impact of COVID-19 disease in the Tillamook County community is low. We've had 0 new hospital admissions related to COVID-19 and 1.4% per 100,000 of staffed inpatient beds occupied by a patient with confirmed COVID-19 in the region. Now, just because we do have the impact being low, COVID-19 is still out there. We've had 12 new COVID-19 cases. It does give us a test positivity rate of 23.94, so that puts the spread of COVID-19 as high within the county. Now, the CDC does provide these measurements per the CDC's COVID-19 community levels. It's a map tool that helps individuals make decisions about their personal risk and safety. So we have that low impact of COVID-19 within the county. We still want to let everybody know to stay up to date with your COVID-19 vaccines. Get tested if you do have symptoms. And if you do have symptoms, a positive test or exposure to somebody with COVID-19, to please wear a mask, and then wear a mask in public transport and in healthcare settings. Individuals may also choose to wear a mask at any time as an additional precaution to protect yourself and others. Now, we do have a few events going on for the rest of the month here. We ask everybody to stop by the Fairgrounds Convention Center this Saturday on the 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's National DEA Take Back Day. This event is in partnership with our health center, the Sheriff's Office, and the Solid Waste Department. The Sheriff's Office will offer safe disposal of unused or expired medications, prescription or over-the-counter. The Solid Waste Department will be offering safe disposal of sharps, which are injectable needles, in a closed red sharps container. Any sharps brought to the event must be in a sealed hard red plastic container per Oregon regulations, and that is usually a sharps container that can be purchased from a local pharmacy, but also acceptable is a Tide jug or a Folgers plastic can with the lid taped shut. And then our health center staff will be on site there providing flu vaccinations for everyone 6 months and older, and bivalent boosters for everyone 6 years older who've had a prior COVID-19 vaccination at least 2 months ago. So no appointments necessary needed for any of these services. We are still waiting on our supply of pediatric Pfizer, which is we are only able to offer the bivalent to 6-year-old and older at this time with Moderna. And if you're unable to make it this weekend, would still like an immunization, we do have some additional walk-in clinics that are going to be coming up. The first is going to be on the 6th, which is a Sunday, November 6th, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So it's going to be at Sacred Heart Catholic Church Parish Hall. This is going to be staffed with all bilingual representatives and will be a Spanish-speaking vaccine clinic. And then Monday the 7th and Tuesday the 8th, from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. at the Fairgrounds Convention Center. If you aren't able to make those, you can find other places to get an updated COVID-19 booster near you by calling 211 or going to getvaccinated.oregon.gov. Since winter is coming up and we are halfway through the fall season, staying up to date with vaccinations is the best protection against flu and COVID-19. They are saying that this year's flu season is going to be a lot harder. So we recommend everybody to get their flu vaccinations. And so with that, that's our report at the Health Department. I'll turn it back over to you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Ed. Does anyone have a question for Ed? Okay, hearing none, we will keep right on moving. How about the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy? Gail, are you with us today?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you, Ed, for the updates. And the Nehalem Bay Health Center and Pharmacy outreach team will also be at the DEA Drug Take Back Resource this Saturday at the Fairgrounds, and also next week at the Veterans Stand Down on November 3rd, which is a Thursday at the Fairgrounds. And also, the team is planning an open enrollment event in Tillamook to help people sign up for health insurance. More details will follow on that when available. And finally, today is our last North County Walking Group walk, and then we'll be on hiatus until spring. For more information on other walking groups in Tillamook County, please do not hesitate to visit TillamookCountyWellness.org. Those are my brief updates for this morning.
Thank you, Gail. Any questions for Gail this morning? Okay, hearing none, we will move on to Tillamook Family Counseling Center. Frank, are you with us this morning?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This is Frank Hanna-Williams, Director, Tillamook Family Counseling Center, Behavioral Health Services for Tillamook County residents. Information regarding services, appointments at the agency can be made by calling 503-842-8201. And I do not have any major updates today, but just to let you know that staff can be reached, appointments can be made. If you have any questions about any of the services that we provide, counseling, supports, group supports, parenting services, QPR, suicide prevention information, or any of the other services that we provide, you can reach us at that number. And if you have any questions today, I will take them.
Thank you, Frank. I was just going to highlight, not everyone who listens to this call probably also watches the commissioner board meetings, but we encourage you to. It's a lot of fun. You can watch them on PCTVlive.com with Jane Scott. But we did approve a contract for additional funding for mobile crisis at our meeting, I think it was last week. And I think this is an important part of the services that TFCC provides as a mobile crisis team. And that mobile crisis team, Frank, can you let people know a little bit about that and how to access it should it be needed?
Yes, this is one of the services that we provide here at crisis emergency services, and what that means is that if there is a concern in relation to a person, and it is there's a behavioral health crisis that is present, and sometimes those things may come to us from the community. They may come to us as a result of our partnership with law enforcement, and the team may be called to be able to provide a behavioral health perspective on an emergency that is in the community. Sometimes there may be a situation where there are a few more challenges, and that law enforcement is there to sort of make sure that the scene of where the crisis is taking place is not a dangerous one, and then they may move away when the scene is cleared, so that we can do our job, do the assessment, make sure that persons are assessed and safe. Should it be that the situation needs to be connected with our Tillamook emergency room and an assessment taking place then, because the situation may be a bit more serious. But other times it may be something that has surfaced in the community that can be taken care of, and the next day there would be a service that would be available for someone in our office. So it is an attempt to address a behavioral health concern in a way that bypasses a person having to come in. And sometimes the stabilization can occur in the community, and that's really what we're looking for.
Thank you, Frank. I appreciate that. I think there's been a lot of conversation locally, I know, but also on the statewide level about appropriate response for folks. And I think I want to make sure people know that in Tillamook County, we do have that mobile crisis team. They do respond in partnership with law enforcement, or sometimes without law enforcement, but just a recognition that we do have that resource available, and that with the funding we recently received, we will be expanding that resource just to make sure that we don't burn out the folks so thank you. I appreciate that, Frank.
Sarah, thank you for the time.
Okay, we will move on to the Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Brown, are you with us today?
Good morning, Commissioner. I am here. Can you hear me okay?
I am not seeing his number. How about Under Sheriff Kelly? Are you with us today, perhaps? Okay, well. Oh, there he is. Good morning, Sheriff. I can see you, but I'm not hearing you. Technology, just a moment.
Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. Thank you.
Oh, all right. I was having microphone issues. Sorry about that.
Oh, that's okay. We're all used to technology being not always our friend.
Yeah, I'm going to shut my camera off, but then I'll give my report.
Thank you.
So we've had kind of a busy week this last week. Quite a few things going on. There's been kind of a couple of high-profile cases that we've had, or situations that we've had, and I would like to highlight a couple of those. Last Thursday was actually just before the meeting that Commissioner Scar attended. One of our deputies had stopped a vehicle about 7 miles up the Kelch's Forest Road, so quite a ways up into the forest on gravel roads. Attempted to arrest the subject on an outstanding warrant, and that subject ended up resisting and a fight ensued. Because of the poor radio service that far up there, the deputy was not able to radio out for backup, and then when he finally did get on the radio, he had advised that he had been fighting for about 3 minutes, and the subject was in custody but still needed backup to arrive. So that was a little bit nerve-wracking because they were doing status checks and he wasn't answering. So I am happy to report, though, that no injuries were sustained by either the deputy or the suspect. So that's good news, and the outcome was good. A few hours after that, we had received another call through dispatch of a disturbance in Barview. I think a lot of people are aware that that happened. The basic report was that a victim had been injured or assaulted, possibly held hostage, and was able to actually get out of the home, and that the suspect was threatening suicide by cop and was supposedly armed. Multiple officers responded and attempted to make contact with the suspect in the home. We did make contact with the victim, and all of the blinds were shut. There was a lot of things. We got no response from the suspect in the home. We were not even 100% certain if the suspect was still in the home. Situations like that, we have to make very difficult decisions, and because we had no 100% verification that the suspect was in the home, there was threats made to even more violence. It was determined that for safety reasons, as well as the situation not being 100% in our control, that we would back out for the moment and attempt to get the subject at a later date. So that situation calmed down and ended with nobody being hurt, no guns being fired, nothing of that nature. We continued to work the case. Over the weekend, there was another report that came out of the Bay City area. It was an armed robbery at the Center Market. The suspect was armed with a pistol and robbed the clerk at gunpoint. Deputies responded, and the suspect had fled the scene, and by that time, that suspect was in fact later found by deputies, and I believe OSP assisted as well, and that suspect was arrested for the armed robbery, so that suspect is in custody. An interesting twist to the story, the passenger of that vehicle was the suspect from the earlier Barview incident that I spoke of, so the passenger was arrested for that incident that had happened a few days before, and the vehicle that they were in was seized and a search warrant was written for that. That's about all I can say on those cases because they are ongoing still, but it is kind of just a brief highlight of some more intense situations that we've dealt with this last week. So beyond that, I can answer any questions if anybody has them, and that's the end of my report.
Thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate that. And we do all very much appreciate our law enforcement in Tillamook County. The fact that we have that kind of response. I was actually driving north on Thursday at the same time as the response to that event, and we had just a really robust response. And from my perspective, I can just say I feel really good about our law enforcement here. And the fact that 2 arrests were made following the 2 events also speaks highly to the fact that our folks are on top of it. So we appreciate all you do to keep us safe. Can I ask you quickly, Sheriff, to speak just briefly to the TAATF, because I can't remember exactly what the letters stand for, but I think it's an exciting partnership that is forming in Tillamook County between the Sheriff's Office and local social services to begin to address issues of homelessness in Tillamook County when it becomes a public health problem and a public safety problem.
Sure. What I will say, just to kind of preface this, is that we will be doing a hopefully a large press release that really goes into more detail, but I can certainly give a brief overview. Okay. Basically, this is what it amounts to. When the citizens that live in Tillamook County see or have to deal with all of the homeless encampments that are around our county, naturally, the first call that they make is generally to police, because they would like to see some type of action taken. So we get a lot of calls that are associated with that, and I started recognizing that enforcement alone is not necessarily the best route to resolve some of these issues, as well as some of the more recent laws that have come out have actually tied our hands a little bit. So what I did is came up with an idea for a task force, and this task force is less about meetings and just having discussions and more about putting boots on the ground. The task force is actually called, as you mentioned, the initials to it, but it's the Transient Accountability and Assistance Task Force. And what this task force is a partnership of numerous agencies, law enforcement as far as the Sheriff's Office, Oregon State Police, Tillamook City Police, and then we've also added in or brought in commissioners, we've brought in CARE, we've brought in Helping Hands, we've brought in TFCC and Mobile Crisis, of course, Public Works and ODOT, because they have some cleanup responsibilities. There's numerous agencies that are a part of this, and what it amounts to is that we're going to put boots on the ground, and we're going to start doing site visits so that we can not only hold persons suffering from homelessness accountable for things that they don't have the right to do, such as garbage or environmental issues, questions of that nature. We can have some accountability for those things, but we can also bring in programs or places such as CARE, community development, things of that nature, in order to provide that assistance. We learned with the Tillamook River Road incident that enforcement alone does not resolve the issue. So really what it amounts to is bringing different people together, creating a solid partnership, and then putting boots on the ground to go out and do site visits and start working the situation so we can both offer assistance and accountability to those suffering homelessness, as well as offering something to the residents of Tillamook County to help with the livability in our community. So that's kind of a very brief and very general overview of it. And like I said, we will hopefully have a press release coming out with more information, but that has started.
Thank you, Sheriff. I appreciate that. As a commissioner, as an advocate for those experiencing homelessness, and as a strong supporter of our law enforcement, I think this is an amazing opportunity to make sure that those who are experiencing homelessness are held to account, because they need to be. Just because you are experiencing homelessness doesn't mean that laws don't apply to you, and can be assisted. Oftentimes, as homeless advocates, it's challenging and can be a bit frightening to walk into some of the camps simply because you don't know what you're walking into. Not because those experiencing homelessness are necessarily criminals or dangerous. It's just the factor of the unknown. So having the partnership with law enforcement is exceptionally helpful so that you can walk into some place and feel safe to offer the assistance that's there. So I think this is a great opportunity, and I will really look forward to how this unfolds. And I appreciate the sheriff kicking this off. I think it's really going to make a difference in our community. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, moving on to emergency management. Randy Thorpe, are you with us today?
You bet I'm here.
All right.
Big news right now is rain, of course. We've gotten a lot of moisture over the last few days, and we are going to continue to get moisture for the next several days. So I think we've officially entered into the Tillamook County rainy season. The good part of all this is the National Weather Service is predicting that our rivers will only rise slightly, probably only less than a foot through all these storms through this week, which is a good sign for non-flooding. So the moisture's good. We can replenish the systems, and we won't have any flooding this week. So that's a definite plus. But with all the rain and the fog that we're getting, and chances of some really heavy downpours, let's be careful driving while we're out there. Visibility will be down. Roads can become very slick during some of these heavy downpours. So safety is the number one word with this, and hopefully we can enjoy the rain this week a little bit. So, and that's all I have right now.
Thank you, Randy. And I again, referring back to commissioner meeting, recently we signed an agreement to the county help support the financial needs of keeping our river gauges in the rivers Tillamook Bay Flood Improvement District is a partner in that. We appreciate them, but it's important to us all. Those river gauges, I don't know about you all, but I know that myself and my family keep a close eye on the river gauges. They're important to know when we're going to likely have flooding. They let us know when we need to be heading over the Wilson to get on the right side of it before the flooding may occur. So they're an important part of our emergency, I'm going to say, monitoring system and response system, frankly, because they let us know. So appreciate Randy continuing to work with that and to bring that forward so that the county can ensure those remain in place. So thank you, Randy. We appreciate your work. All right. Moving on to the Board of Commissioners, which today is me. So I will make a few comments, trying not to get too long-winded on you all. I wanted to tack on to what Representative Weber mentioned about Marie Mills and Ron Rush. For any of you who are not familiar with Marie Mills, it is an amazing and unique organization here in Tillamook County supporting those with developmental disabilities. They have work sites, they have support so that folks can work in the community. They have some group homes. It's just really, I think, a special place that allows our community to have equity for people. So if you aren't familiar, jump on your computer and take a look at the Marie Mills organization. Lots there. And Ron Rush has been with that organization, I believe, for over 30 years. He started as a worker there and became the executive director and has really done a fantastic job. So if you know Ron and see Ron in the community, thank him for all of his work. And we look forward to supporting Cindy Green as she steps into that role. Suzanne also mentioned Tillamook High School sports, and I want to tack on to that the volleyball team is also your COAPA League champions this year. That was the first time for volleyball to take the COAPA championship since, I believe, 2005. Your football team, as Suzanne mentioned, took the COAPA League championship, and that was the first time since 1999. So we have an amazing group of athletes moving through our schools right now, and I think that's something to be proud of. She also mentioned the ribbon cutting, which is the 28th. I believe it's at 6:45, and that is for the athletic complex that will open with the new field and the new track, which is just such a gift for our students. So this community has amazing support for our schools and our athletes. So we appreciate that and just want to congratulate all those athletes who worked so hard. We've talked a little bit about the Halloween events and just the downtown trick-or-treat is happening, and I'm pleased to share that the courthouse will be open this time. We've been closed the last couple of years due to COVID. We will be open this year. We will not be screening every little ghost and goblin that comes through. For those of you who have been in the courthouse, you know we do have a metal detector that will not be required of the kiddos or their parents coming in. So just so folks can feel confident, comfortable, you can come through the courthouse as you have in the past and pick up candy at the different departments. I don't know how many of you may have seen the meeting that occurred for Alderbrook Golf Course yesterday. I was not able to attend that meeting, but Patrick Zweifel was working very, very hard to put together an opportunity to purchase that golf course. I saw another post on Facebook this morning from him. He's inviting people to sign up to get information if you are interested in staying involved in that. Soon, I think they may be selling some memberships to generate some of the cash they need. So there's a variety of things that Patrick is working to do to make sure that that golf course can be purchased and remain a viable golf course in Tillamook County. If that is something that is of interest to you, please, if you're on Facebook, search Alderbrook Golf Course Hydrangea Ranch. I believe that was the name of the post that I saw. You can also, I'm sure, reach out to Patrick through his phone number there at the Hydrangea Ranch. But he is putting an all-points effort out. He needs to raise about $1 million from the community. So I just encourage folks to, according to his post, so I encourage folks to get involved. This is something, when we held the community meeting, there were lots of voices that said this is an important asset in our community. It's important to the folks who live here as a quality of life. It's important to our students who were, without it, traveling more than an hour to practice. It's something that if it goes away, it can't be replaced. So we are really excited that Patrick's moving forward with that project, and we encourage everyone to look that up and get involved if golf is close to your heart. Just one more reminder that this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and we've had a variety of events, and I just want to remind people that Tides of Change is your resource if you want to know more, if you just want information, if you are someone who is struggling or someone in your social circle is struggling, Tides of Change is there for you, so please reach out. It's an amazing resource, again, that we have in our community, and I want to make sure people are aware of it. I know we talked about elections, so I won't go back to that one, but the other thing that hit everybody's mailbox were our tax statements. And that is always an interesting piece. When you get your tax statement, you get to take a look. I know that I was absolutely shocked at the value of my home, and it's been quite a year in Tillamook County for housing prices, and I know that Denise is with us, so I have a few numbers, Denise, of that we received in the commissioners meeting, but would you like to say a little bit about the tax statements for this year? So I'm not hearing, oh, there she goes.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, tax statements have been mailed. Coincidentally, they were mailed the same time as the ballot. That's totally random, but it happens quite often. And we've got a new drop box in Tillamook by the post office drop boxes, so people can drop their payments there. And yes, the market in Tillamook County has increased dramatically, and therefore we have trended the values up substantially. We encourage anybody that has any questions regarding their value to contact our office, talk with the appraiser for the area, and we will, look at the account, see if there's been any errors made, and, if we don't come to some sort of agreement, property owners do have the right to appeal. So the taxes are due November 15th, and anybody that has any questions can come on in and talk to us or give us a call. We have a lot of information on the website, so any questions, we're more than happy to answer.
Thank you, Denise. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Some of the information that was also provided to the commissioners that I found interesting was that there were 29,000 tax bills generated, and 29,000 bills. That was 22,000 pieces of mail, because some people own more than one property, and so those were 22,000 pieces of mail that went out. The other piece of that's interesting to me, because you all know that as a housing advocate, I have kept an eye on how many of those go out of county, and 51% of the tax bills this year went out of county, and I will just reference that against 50% that went out of county last year. And if you hearken back to 2015, when I started my first sort of work looking at housing study, it was 44%. So we definitely have more homes that are being purchased by folks who don't live here, which we all know, but I find this is just kind of an interesting number to keep an eye on that references that. And I know a lot of people would say it's all short-term rentals, but I would like people to recognize that we have more second homes that are not rented than we have second homes that are rented. So it's just one of those narratives that I think the more information we can all have about it, the more realistic we can be about what's happening in our community. So I thought that was interesting, 51% out of county. The other thing that is always of interest to me is how much did we levy? We levied $69 million in taxes, which sounds like a huge number. But I remind you also that 56% of that right off the top goes to the schools. Somewhere in the 30%-ish goes to special districts. And at the end of the day, the county will get about 12% of that to provide to you your vital county services. If you have questions about that, there's a wonderful image on the Tillamook County website. It is on the assessment and taxation homepage. If you click on their homepage and scroll down to the bottom, you can see there's three great graphics. One is who's paying the tax. Most of it's your residential folks in Tillamook. There's another one that looks at the difference between real market value and actual AV, which I can't remember what that one stands for, but Denise would tell me. But you can look at real market value and how it's trended, and you can look at who gets the tax. And I think these are important things for all of us to know in Tillamook County. Again, it's part of the narrative that I pay so much in taxes, why don't I get more from the county? And I hear that as your county commissioner fairly frequently, and I just like people to know that when you pay those taxes, they are going to a lot of places in your county to provide services, but it's not all directly to your county government. Denise, were you going to tell me what AV was?
Yes. RMV is the real market value. That's the value that we determine is what your property should sell for as of the assessment date. The assessed value is the value that your tax rate is calculated against, and that was determined in 1995 minus 10%, and that's limited to increase 3%, limited to a 3% increase per year. So it's the real market value versus the assessed value.
Thank you. And I think that's another important thing for everyone to realize, is because we say, oh my gosh, market value is going up so much. The county must be getting so much more money for taxes. And I think if you take the moment to click on that graphic, what you will see is just the reminder that assessed value increases by 3% per year. So it really doesn't matter that we've had this huge increase in value in homes. That doesn't help the money that comes to your county government or your special districts, because we don't see that full value increase. We see only the 3%. So thank you for letting me do a quick tax conversation. I just think it's absolutely critical that we, as residents of Tillamook County, voters of Tillamook County, and those who are seeking county services, recognize and understand how your county services are funded and why we struggle. At 3% per year, we're not keeping up with inflation, so our costs are going up faster than our tax base, and it is definitely a challenge for us. Okay, I will step down off my soapbox of all the different fun things I was talking about and move on to our cities. I know that Mayor Mike Scott is not with us from Manzanita today. They're having a budget meeting. But in addition to that, Mayor Scott is not running for re-election. Therefore, he is also stepping down from representing on this call. And we will hope that when a new mayor is elected, that we will have representation coming from Manzanita from that new mayor. Is there anyone else that stepped in? I assume the whole city of Manzanita, electeds and others, are probably in their budget meeting. Okay, hearing none, we will keep trucking. How about Nehalem? Melissa Thompson-Kiefer, are you with us today? Wheeler, Mayor Doug Honeycutt, or City Manager Mayor Johnson. Rockaway Beach, Mayor Sue Wilson. Garibaldi, Mayor Tim Hall.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, Garibaldi has nothing to report this week.
Thank you, Mayor. Nice and quiet in Garibaldi. Bay City. Mayor David McCall. Okay, Tillamook, do we have City Manager Nathan George with us today?
Good morning, Commissioner. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning, we can.
Wonderful. I'm a little bit shorter today, my announcements, but thank you very much. So in our Public Works Department, street crews will be street sweeping downtown to ensure a safe and clean environment for upcoming trick-or-treaters. You may have seen the truck out there already. Water and wastewater crews are focusing on routine operations and maintenance this week. Also, I just wanted to give a little update on Public Works. So when we're fully staffed, the Public Works Department has 17 employees. Excuse me. Currently, we are short 5 employees. We'd love to get applications if anybody's interested. Please go to our website. And 5 employees is 1/3 of the department. Furthermore, the Public Works Department is responsible for wastewater treatment plant, the wastewater collection system, water treatment plant, water distribution system, all streets, city stormwater systems, all parks, all city buildings, and various other programs responsibilities such as special events, flower baskets, etc., and assistance with emergency management. So we just ask everyone to please be patient and understanding as we continue to work to do our very best to provide the best possible services. If you see a pothole or have any other concern or compliment for Public Works, you may call our main number and follow the prompts of the Public Works Department, or email us at publicworks@tillamookor.gov. In the Police Department, Sergeant Hall has completed his first year of the basic supervision at the Department of Public Safety Standards and Training. He will return for a few weeks. The supervisors are assigned the task of developing a project that would improve services within their community, and they must present their project in its entirety before grading the second class, along with the plan for implementation. Officer Neubauer, who's our newest officer, is doing very well in his basic police academy class and is starting week 7 of the 16 weeks, and we'll be excited to have him back when he's completed that. The police department is honored to be asked to participate in the Purple Light event for Tides of Change last Thursday from 4:30 to 6:30 p.m. and had 6 officers in attendance along with many community members. It's important that we show support for the survivors of domestic violence and the amazing work this advocacy group does to help them through a difficult time in their lives. Previously, the city police department had not participated and partnered as strongly with Tides of Change, so we're happy to be doing that now. That was in the past. The city has been made aware of a potential cougar sighting within the city's limits yesterday and appreciates the partnership we have with both the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife and the OSP Fish and Game as the efforts they put forth to work with us to make our community was safe. They actually went out and checked it all out, and we were pleased to report that they reported no evidence or sign that they could see that there was any cougar residing in our area. We also appreciate the community members who brought this concern forth, for you never can be too careful in a situation like this. A reminder that homeowners may sign up for the City of Tillamook endorsed partnership with Service Line Warranties of America. The city highly encourages homeowners to seriously consider signing up for sewer and lateral line warranties, and you can also have indoor plumbing for less than $10 a month per service to your property. Yesterday, I actually had a resident come in and inquire about the service. I spent some time explaining to him the program, and once he fully understood the benefits, he was very excited to sign up and save thousands of dollars in future repairs. I think his home, he said his home was built in the 1940s or 50s. He was excited about that. If you have any questions on this, please call or stop by City Hall. And finally, as I say often, but I want to say again, remember, if you see something, say something. This means please call 911 for emergencies or dispatch for non-emergencies. In the past, some of the system operated outside the dispatch system through the 911 center, and we've changed that. Chief Rowell, along with myself and everyone else in the police department, has been working really hard to strengthen our system. Just to explain a little bit. See, all emergencies must go through dispatch for the safety of our first responders, for proper follow-up and documentation, and also for a streamlined processing purposes. And here's the strange thing, but I want to mention it. The city continues to have multiple residents posting on social media, especially Facebook, when they see something rather than calling emergency services. This has led to various possible interdictions and actions from law enforcement that go untaken as they're unaware at the time. So we ask everyone to please call, not post. Not that you can't post things, but we need you to call first. That's really, really important. So that's all I have, Commissioner. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nathan. Appreciate the information. Okay, moving on to South County. Doug Olson, are you with us today?
Good morning, Commissioner. I am here. Can you hear me okay?
Good morning, Doug. We can.
All right, thank you. Mention was made earlier about the Halloween celebrations around the county, and there are several in Pacific City. One of my favorite holidays, by the way, I remember as a youngster, I would go around our neighborhood where I grew up in Hood River, and one particular lady gave out little candies to everyone. But when I got there, I got a giant Hershey bar, and I've always remembered that. That was a pretty big deal in those days, a long time ago. Anyway, we'll have a couple of things in Pacific City. River Place Merchants, I believe, is having a trick-or-treater event for the youngsters to come by. That's our little shopping center right in the middle of town. And then, as mentioned, the Dorymen are putting together something I think they've done a time or two in the past at the Kiwanis Community Center, which is they'll decorate the boats, they'll have the treats for the youngsters, and it's really a nice, safe way to go have a good time that evening. And of course, this time of year it's dark, and little kids, dark coat, but to be extra careful. So we will celebrate Halloween like lots of others. Second thing I would mention, at our chamber meeting next week, November 1, Tuesday, our guest speaker will be Terry Cooper, who is the director of the Economic Development Council of Tillamook County, and she's going to talk about the proposed business license for unincorporated areas. And Commissioner, you might want to speak to that when I get done in a moment, but she'll be our guest speaker, and she'll talk about the history of that and what the costs will be to various types of businesses based primarily on the number of employees, as I understand it, and where the money goes and what it might do and so on. So it's a big change for unincorporated Tillamook County because we've never had a business license requirement. Lots of other requirements, but not that one. So that's new. So that's a week from today, November 1, at the Kiwanis Community Center at noon. So we'll make sure your questions are answered, and she's just the person to do it. So with that, Commissioner, I'll say thank you very much. And if you wanted to mention anything about the business license, now might be a good time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you for queuing that up for us. So yes, we are considering an ordinance that would put a business license in for unincorporated Tillamook County. The intention for this is to give us an opportunity to help support the economic development, as well as to really provide a connection between businesses operating in unincorporated Tillamook County and the county, so that we are able to work with businesses to support them with their needs. So what we learned during COVID when we were working to put out grants to businesses was that there is no registry, there is no centralized list, there is no way, there's just no registration. So when it came time, we put it out through the newspapers and all the ways that we could find, but we didn't have a way to reach directly out to businesses. So a portion of this is to create that actual registry of businesses, so we know who's operating here, so that we have the ability to communicate with folks and to offer supports to our local businesses. It also gives us an opportunity and a way to know if businesses are operating legally and safely. We've had a number of complaints about businesses in the county, in the unincorporated county, and we don't have any information about those businesses because at this point it has not been within our purview to do so. So there's a couple of different reasons why. What I will let you know is this is, there will be 2 public hearings regarding this ordinance that will give you an opportunity to come and hear a full presentation about the ordinance, as well as to provide public comment. And I apologize, I don't have those off the top of my head. I am quickly flipping through my calendar looking for where those have been posted on my calendar so that I might be able to tell you that, but I think I'm going to have to defer that until next week, and then we will let you know what those dates are, because they are just not quickly coming to me on my calendar. Yeah, so there will be, so I do want to be very clear that this is, as all things with your government, there is a process. Our wheels turn slowly, and there will be 2 public hearings regarding this before a vote is taken to approve it or not. So it's an opportunity for feedback to be provided, which may allow for adjustments to the ordinance. So again, next week I will make sure that we let y'all know when those hearings are. Okay, I also realized I was remiss. I did not thank Denise as our county assessor and her staff for the hard work they did to put out the tax bills, because it is a crazy amount of time for them to go through to certify the tax rolls, to get all of those pieces of mail out to everyone, and then the work has just begun. The taxation department is now ready, willing, and able to accept your payments. So their very busy days are yet to come. So we really thank all of our staff at the county who assure that tax bills go out and that payments come in and are recorded properly. Without their work, the county simply doesn't function. So forgive me for not saying that when I called on Denise. I want our staff to know how we feel. Okay, with that, I think we will wrap up this call for today. And I want to thank KTIL for broadcasting. I'd like to thank everyone for attending, and I hope you all have a great rest of your day. We will adjourn this meeting at 8:57.